What's going on, YouTube family? This is your man Pristine, back with another video. Welcome to the Pristine review for the LG G8 Thin Q, or as some of you may pronounce, Think. So the G8 here is LG's latest and greatest. It's got all the top-end flagship specifications, camera, performance, all those things. And so without further ado, let's get into that. All right. Now, first off, one of the most important specs being the price. I know that at T-Mobile, the LG G8 Thin Q is being sold for $619. Okay, and I believe that that's the cheapest that is being sold across the carriers. Out of all the major carriers that are selling this phone, probably not going to find it any cheaper than that. And I think that that's a really good deal, considering all the internal specs that you're getting. I mean, the Snapdragon 845 processor, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage that can be expanded, all that kind of thing. There are other devices that have those same specs that cost, $400 or $500 more than what LG is asking for the G8 here. So I know that $619 for some of you is still a lot of money, and I understand that. But I'm just saying, from a flagship level, if you want those top tier 2019 specs, as of right now, this is probably one of the cheapest options that you can go with. And when I say cheap, that doesn't mean that it's bad. I'm just specifically talking about cost. That's all I'm talking about right now, because this phone is a beast. All right. Now, the like I said, as far as the specs, Snapdragon 845 processor, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage that can be expanded up to 512 gigs. Android 9 Pie, fresh out the box, running over LG UX 8.0, which is LG's skin. And a lot of people, they bash LG skin. I've always loved LG skin. I've never had a problem with it. And I think one of the main reasons why is because it offers something different from stock Android. Like, it's interesting, I look at a lot of cats' videos and people, they bash all these other devices that have their own operating systems that are running on Android, with Android 9 Pie running over it, or it running on top of Android 9 Pie, and everybody's, oh man, just it's not stock, it's just not, it doesn't have that stock look or that stock feel. Well, I don't know about y'all, but for me, that stock look and feel is boring as hell. It's hella boring, man. You know what I mean? And most of the Android phones have that look. So I can always appreciate when a company has their own skin to give it its own look, its own personality, and you can kind of tailor make and customize the phone to your liking. Okay? And so, I'm a big fan of LG skin. I love the fact that it gives us the ability to change transition effects, just kind of like this windmill option that I'm doing here. That's always been one of my favorite features with LG devices. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I don't think that there was a phone, to my knowledge, that allowed you to change the transition effect before LG started allowing us to do that. And they started this a long time ago. Like, I was doing this on the LG G2, you know what I'm saying? Which was like, I don't think it was on the G1, you know what I'm saying? But it was on the G2 for a fact. And that G2 had me turned out to where at the time when the G2 was out, it was the G2 and the Note, I think it was the Note 4. It was either the Note 3 or the Note 4. Man, I got rid of my Note to get the LG G2, man, after I got exposed to it, man. LG, man, they make some badass phones, man. I mean, there's a lot of haters going on out there. But I'm a big fan of LG skin. All right, now, the build quality. Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front, Corning Gorilla Glass 6 on the back. And as you can see, this is that beautiful, beautiful carmine red color. Oh, man, sexy. Oh, man, so sexy. Red being my favorite color. This, ladies and gentlemen, to me is just beautiful. Okay, the phone is nice and lightweight. We've got a 6.1 inch 1440 by 3120 pixel OLED display, 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio. We do have the notch up top, which I'm not bothered by that at all whatsoever. A lot of people, they dislike it, but LG, they do give you the ability under the settings menu to cancel out the notch if it's not something that you're into. So, shouldn't be a gripe there, because if you don't like the notch, then hey, you can do away with the notch. But again, I mean, the phone, it's very interesting. It's kind of hard to explain because although the phone is glass on the front and back, it's slippery when on surfaces. Like if it's on a flat surface, I don't know if you can see that, but the phone is sliding extremely slowly, and that's going to be a recipe for disaster for some folks, because some people are just going to set their phone down thinking, oh, it's on a flat surface, it's fine. Well, it's not fine, because this phone likes to slide and move around even while it's on a flat surface, and if it's near an edge, it's toppling over that edge. Now, granted, depending on how high, how high up it is, that Corning Gorilla Glass 5 and 6 may prove to, be durable enough, so that your phone doesn't sustain any damage. But if dropped from a high enough height, I don't give a damn if it's Corning Gorilla Glass 10. It's going to break, it's going to shatter, and you're going to be upset, and you're going to be filling out an insurance claim, and that's if you've got insurance on your phone to get a replacement. Or you're just going to rock around, be walking around in your phone just cracked and just looking hella ugly and janky because there's cracks all over the place in one of the corners, and you shattered the screen and shattered the glass on the back, and hey, there's your brand new LG G8. So man, protect your investment. Get a case, screen protector. Things do happen, but that's what those things are for, to protect your investment. I like I love the fact that on the back, how the camera is completely flush. The camera sensors, along with the LED flash, are underneath the glass. I love that. So there's nothing protruding. If you guys can see that, there's nothing protruding on the back where the camera is. And so when you set this phone on a flat surface, you're not worried about that rocking, Oh, well, you hit a corner. If you press one of the corners, it's not going anywhere. Some phones, the camera hump is protruding so much, and it's kind of like up like this. And so if you push it, if you tap on one of the corners and the phone is just rocking, none of that here with the LG G8. Okay, so I'm a fan of the build quality. Feels good in the hand. Like I said, it's interesting. It doesn't feel all that slippery in the hand, but it is slick on surfaces. So be mindful if you've got this phone sitting on a flat surface and you don't have a case on it that's going to keep it from sliding. I've got myself a little rubber TPU case here. Phone doesn't go anywhere. It stays wherever I lay it. All right, now performance. Do I even need to touch on that? Like I just said, Snapdragon 855. Snapdragon 855. Man, I'm still living in 2018, man. My goodness. Snapdragon 855. 6 gigs of RAM. 128 gigs of storage. This phone is a performance beast. Okay? Now I'm connected to my Wi-Fi here. Data speeds are going to be different on 4G LTE connectivity, but this phone breezes through everything. And go ahead and get that word up in you. Focus on that. It's the verse of the day, because I know y'all need Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and get that off in your spirit. All right. Now let's take it over to Spotify real quick. I'm just opening up some real content heavy applications that sometimes can take a few more seconds than usual to open up, and you just see how the G8 just opens it up with no problems. Same with SoundCloud. Once SoundCloud loads up, man, no problem at all whatsoever. Are you currently enrolled in a college or university? Not at the moment. Okay. So you see that, like the fact that you swipe hard to the right, and it brings up your Google Now feed. And this is where I stay on top of a lot of information, from just the latest phone information to scores, movie trailers, all that kind of thing. And I love Google Now. Okay. Now, one thing that I'm not really all that big of a fan on, as far as the build quality, and I guess that has to do with button placement, but I wish that the volume rockers were all on the right side, because even though I'm lefty and I'm very ambidextrous, I hold all my hands, and it's more comfortable for me to hold my phones in my right hand. And so I've gotten so used and accustomed to all the buttons being on the right side, so I can just simply just kind of shimmy my thumb up and hit the power button or hit the volume up or down or whatever it is that I want to do. Well, on the G8, the volume rocker is on the left side, and then underneath the volume rocker, you've got a dedicated Google Assistant button. And
What can I do for you?
to my knowledge, that button is not remappable for you to do what you want with it. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not a deal breaker. It's not a determining factor as to whether or not you should or should not get the phone. But that's just something that I don't really care too much for, as far as, you know, the button placement. Not really a big fan of the button placement. I wish everything was on the right side. That'd be sweet. Now, if you're a lefty, then hey, and you hold your device in your left hand, then hey, you got action right there. I'm just saying, for me, even though I am a lefty, I hold all my hands in my right hand, and that's inconvenient. I mean, so it goes from being able to toggle my volume, being a one-handed operation, to a two-handed operation, because I have to reach up with the other hand. It's very awkward to try to hold the phone and shimmy my hands up and try to wrap a finger around the whole phone. I mean, which I can do, but that feels awkward. You know what I mean? That feels awkward. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, minor little gripe, no big deal. Now, like I said, I mean, performance, this phone is a performance beast. There hasn't been not a single application where I tapped on it and it took longer than 3.5, 4 seconds, if that, to get into that application. RAM management, I do have the gesture controls on, and so we're just going to simply swipe up. And again, Android 9 Pie, so everything is side scrolling. And you will see that there's no reloading times. Okay, go back into SoundCloud and it just pops right back into it. You know, go back into my photos. Okay, see that? That's for the haters. You know what I'm saying? That's for all you haters out there, and all y'all out there shucking and jiving and hating. You know what I'm saying? That's for y'all. All right, a little something for you. And yeah, man, I mean, you know, it just gets you right back to where you want to be when you need to get there, with no problems, hassles at all whatsoever. This phone, it hasn't hiccuped, it hasn't stuttered, it hasn't lagged, it hasn't done any of that stuff. And it's interesting, you know, people talk so much about they don't like the LG skin and their UI, and I'm just like, well, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when have you ever heard? I haven't heard too many instances where, you know, there's like lag or stuttering or anything like that. I mean, well, I guess that may have a lot to do with the performance, you know what I'm saying, or the type of processor that's in the phone. But I feel like all these things are a contributor to how the phone performs. You know what I mean? And I know, you know, people, they've jumped on Samsung's back for years about TouchWiz and how it gets a little dicey and spotty, you know, kind of choppy and laggy and kind of rigid and little irking jerks here and there. You know, I've always pretty much had a nice smooth experience with pretty much the majority of the LG devices that I've had. And I've had a lot of LG devices, a lot of them. So performance, in my personal opinion, is great. Now, the cameras, we've got a single 8 megapixel sensor on the front. This is a time of flight 3D camera, okay? 26 millimeter wide angle front facing camera. On the rear here, we've got a 12 megapixel primary sensor and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor with all the bells and the whistles. Now, I'm not going to speak too much about the camera other than the fact that it is a great camera, because there is a dedicated camera review that I did for this phone, and if you want to check that out, just click in the description box, and that's where the link will be, and you can click on that link and check out the video and get down in the comment section, which is where I'll be, and let me know what you think about the camera performance and the video quality samples that I put in the video. All right. So yeah, like I said, the description for that is down, or the link for that is in the description. Just click on it, and there you go. All right. But the cameras, in my personal opinion, are up there with some of the best. Okay, it's up there with the Pixel. It's up there with the S10 and the S10 Plus. It's up there with the latest iPhones. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's up there, man. I mean, it's funny. A lot of you guys get in the comments. You guys think that I'm like a, you guys have said things like I should be an LG spokesperson and LG got me on the payroll and this and that. Nah, man, LG ain't cut me no checks at all whatsoever. I don't work for LG. I have no ties to LG aside from the fact that I just like their products. They deliver on their products, and it amazes me that they don't get the recognition that they need. I read something a few weeks ago that said something that, this is the time for LG to just stop making phones. I'm like, what a buffoon. What an idiot to sit there and say something like that when they're still putting out products like this. You know what I mean? I know that the thing is they don't market their phones as often as like Samsung or Apple. But I mean, as my man Jay Will said, just because it's not marketed heavy, just because you don't see a lot of LG, commercials like you do Apple iPhones or like you do Samsung devices, does that mean that it's a bad device? Absolutely not. Does that mean that it's not in competition? You know what I mean? With the two other powerhouses that I just named? Absolutely not, man. That is asinine. You know what I mean? And so I like how my man Jay Will, man, he references these people as the media. You know what I'm saying? The tech media. People, they just get their hands on these phones and it's like, they've got their own agendas or they got ties with companies. They're being paid to say negative things about phones so that they won't take off. And you people are just so gullible. You know what I mean? It's like anything you hear about something that's just gonna, deter you from getting your own hands on the device to give it a true shot for yourself, which is to me the determining factor as to whether or not you will or will not like a device. Damn, what's somebody talking about? You know what I'm saying? Even what I'm talking about, because what I'm saying right now is just simply my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you all the things that I hate about this phone right now, and those may be the very things that may cause you to love the phone. So, you just got to take what these reviewers say, man, with a grain of salt, man, myself included. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is just my thoughts and impressions after an extensive period of time of using the device and testing it out. And I mean, hey, but don't take my word for it. It's like, man, go down and get your hands on it, But I do this just to help educate on, what the phone is capable of, its features, functions, how it feels, how it performs, all that, so that if it is something that you may want to commit to, then it's like you've already got a basis of information walking in the door. So you've got a greater sense of what it is that you're getting into. You see what I'm saying? But you still want to get the device in your hands to test it out for yourself. All right. Now, the battery life. We've got a 3,500 milliamp hour battery. Does it last all day? Absolutely. No problems whatsoever at all. I mean, that's really all I can say about that. I don't be getting into screen on time and all that because, again, all that is just dependent on how you use your device. You know what I mean? If you use your device more, and depending on how you're using your device, what you're doing with it, then yeah, you're gonna suck the battery dry quicker. Me, I'm a light to moderate user, as I say in all my videos. You know what I mean? So for how I use my device, which is talking on the phone, because first and foremost, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Do a little bit of social media. I ain't really too heavy in social media, but I'm trying to get into it a little bit more just because I understand there's a lot of networking and things. Me being a content creator and having a YouTube channel, there's a lot of things popping on social media for content creators. So I'm trying to, up my presence a little bit, you know what I'm saying, with, Twitter, Instagram, all that. I've had these accounts for years, but I've just never really rocked with them much. But, I do a little bit of that. Watch a few YouTube videos here and there. You know what I'm saying? Most of my YouTube watching is spent at my computer, which is right here. You see my keyboard right there. I've got the whole stereo set up, subwoofer and the sound bar and all that, you know what I'm saying? So I just like to get that theater effect with everything that I watch. You know what I'm saying? But it handles everything that I do with it perfectly. You know, if you're a heavy gamer or a heavy content watcher, download movies and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, it's got the storage space, it's got the processor, it's got the RAM. I mean, it's got the power, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to back pretty much anything you're going to throw at this phone with very minimal to no lag or stuttering or hiccups at all whatsoever. And it's one of the cheapest devices that you can get your hands on right now that has all these specs. You know, so it's like when you pick this phone against the S10 or the S10 Plus, you put it against the iPhone or some of the other top tier Android devices out there that, you know, are flagship caliber that also have the Snapdragon 855 processor with similar specifications. Those phones aren't just blowing this phone out of the water like that, not by a long shot. The G8 is right there in the conversation. It's right there in the mix. It can go toe to toe with all them phones with performance, camera, you know what I'm saying? You know, build, features, functions, all that. Telling you, man, y'all need to stop sleeping on LG, man. Y'all need to stop sleeping on them, you know? So, hey, battery life is good. Bottom of the device, we've got the Type-C connector. We do have fast charge. There's an 18-watt wall adapter that does come inside the box. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I was able to charge this from 0 to 96% in like 20, 25 minutes. We do have wireless charge capability, which is how I charge my phone mostly. Like plugging the Type-C connector into the phone, to me, is prehistoric. I am completely and utterly turned out. Turned out. I didn't say turned. I said turnt. T-U-R-N-T. I'm turned out. By wireless charge, you know what I'm saying? But of course, wireless charge does not charge as fast as plugging in. So to be able to time the battery percentage accurately, I had to plug it in. You know what I mean? And I think that was like one of the only times. Maybe there was another time where I plugged it in, but aside from that, I got a wireless charger on my desk right here and another one right over there. I've got two wireless chargers on both the left and the right side of my desk, and it goes on one of them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so, you know, it's like when wireless charge is one of those things, when you get exposed to it, it's hard to go back, man. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to go back. You know? It's hard to go back to a regular hamburger, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when you had a, you know, triple cheeseburger, you know what I'm saying, with the bacon and that special sauce, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah. It's kind of hard to go back to that regular old hamburger, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But yeah, so additional features. Wow, where do I start? Well, we'll just go over some of the basic things that I love about it. You know, simple things. Double tap to put the phone to sleep. Double tap to wake up the device. Okay. Do have Face ID. Boom. As you can see, I like the fact that once it recognizes your face and it opens up, then it takes you right to your desktop. There's none of that, you know, having to swipe up. Now, you can set the phone to do that. Under the security settings, you can set the phone up to where even after the phone recognizes your face, you'll see that little lock unlock, but then you'll still have to swipe up. You know what I mean? You can set the phone to do that. And I like the fact that LG gives you that ability. You control that. It's not something that you just have to deal with because the manufacturers weren't thoughtful enough to give us a choice. I like choices. You know what I mean? The more choices I have, you know what I'm saying, to toggle something on my own, the better. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that we do have that. I'm a big fan of this animation, right? When you go into the phone and you see how it just kind of zooms right into your desktop, that's pretty dope. I like that. And that's one of the main reasons why I haven't changed it. Okay? We have the fingerprint sensor in the back. Okay? Right there. Perfectly placed. Where a fingerprint sensor needs to be. Where it ought to be. Okay? You touch it, boom. Takes you right into your desktop. And it works 100% of the time. Alright? So, you've seen Face ID. You've seen the fingerprint sensor. Double tap to sleep. Double tap to wake. Now, another thing that I think is really cool about this phone is at the top, it doesn't have a speaker grill. Okay? Because the sound from the phone while you're talking on the phone, the top portion of the screen vibrates. There's a technology underneath it, and that's how the sound is portrayed. So when you're talking on the phone, you literally just pick this phone up and put it to your ear, and it sounds pretty clear. Now there has been some times where, most of the time I talk with the Bluetooth in my ear, and so I don't really get too wrapped up in how call quality sounds when you're talking on the phone with it. But I do mention it because a lot of people may not use Bluetooth devices or any kind of headphones of any kind while they're talking on the phone. So that's important. It sounds good, but there has been some moments where at higher volume, I noticed that it tends to sound distorted. And I'm a perfectionist, and I've got OCD big time, and I feel like I know how the other person on the other end should sound. And to me, there's nothing popping, there's nothing attractive about whoever you're talking to. It irks me when you're having a conversation, but then everything that the person says on the other end, you hear like this crackling, like it sounds like there's this distortion going on. Now that's at higher volumes, but when you turn it down a little bit, then it gets rid of the distortion, but at the same time, you're still kind of like really having to like smash the phone against your ear to really hear what the person is saying, or you're constantly asking them to repeat themselves, which, that can be annoying. I don't like to repeat myself. You know what I'm saying? I try to articulate what I'm articulating as clearly as possible, so that people understand what I'm talking about, so that people aren't constantly asking me what I said or asking me to repeat myself. That gets annoying. And I can tell, I've had some friends of mine that was, oh man, you want one of them little fugazi phones, man. My boys, they rock with me, they support me heavily. They know that I'm rocking a new phone every other week or something like that. They know I'm just constantly changing devices, and so a lot of the phones that they don't really hear about, they refer to them as fugazi phones, because they got iPhones or they got Samsung devices. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they got these top tier flagship devices. You know what I'm saying? They're just completely in the box. You know what I'm saying? They don't know nothing about this other mobile world that exists, because they just haven't expanded their minds to those things. Nor do they care about them, because they're content with the devices that they got. And I feel that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a tech reviewer. It's my job to get my hands on these devices and bring them to, shed light on them and help teach people about them. So yes, I have a multitude of phones, and I'm always changing phones. And I'm like, Fugazi, I'm like, man, it's that new LG, man, it's the G8. Like, ain't nothing Fugazi about it, but it's just the new technology. Okay, so in my experience, I noticed that higher volumes, the sound from the person on the other end that you're talking to can be a bit distorted at higher volumes. But like I said, when you turn it down to like medium range or turn it down to low, then it gets rid of that distortion. But then you run into the issue of you may not be able to hear the person because you have to turn the volume too low. And then the more you creep that volume back up, the more you start to hear that distortion. I'm not really a big fan of that. Okay? I'm not really a big fan of that. I've noticed that. I've talked on this phone a few times with putting it to my ear. Like I said, usually I've got my Bluetooth in my ear, but say sometimes my battery may be dead on my Bluetooth. It's on the charger. And if it's on the charger, then how else am I supposed to talk on the phone? I got to put the phone in my ear. So I think it's a cool technology, but at the same time, I think it needs work. Me personally, I would prefer for them to have just put just an earpiece right here in the notch, which is what they did with the V40 and the G7. And it was kind of weird because it wasn't placed directly in the middle of the notch. It was like more so on the right of the notch. And so you kind of had to move the phone on your ear a little bit just to make sure that your ear was right on the speaker so that you can hear. But it's just you put your ear anywhere at the top end of the phone, you're going to be able to hear. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of, like I said, I mean, if you've got it at higher volumes, then the voices on the other end are going to sound distorted. You know what I mean? Unless you turn the volume down a bit. Okay? But nonetheless, cool tech. I just think it needs a little bit of work. Now, we also have the Boombox Speaker. Okay? And I do notice that when listening to audio, whether it be watching videos or just listening to music, sound is for it. This phone, I don't think it's, let's see. It's not advertised to have dual stereo speakers. But you hear the sound coming from the bottom speaker here, but then you also hear sound coming from the screen as well. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting. how it works. But it's pretty neat. And again, you got that boombox effect. I mean, so you put it on a hollow surface, or just put it on a surface, period, and the sound just comes to life even more. I mean, the phone sounds good as it is, but when you put it on a flat surface or a hollow box, then as we saw with the V40, as we saw with the G7, the sound really comes to life. Some people have said that the sound isn't as crisp as it has been on the V40 or the G7. Me, I disagree. I mean, I think it sounds good either way. But again, to me, that's not really a big deal, because I'm not sitting here bumping music on my phone. It's like, who does that? You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe there's some people out there that do it. And this is no knock on you people who do that. But I mean, I always have my phone connected to, like I said, I mean, I'm in my car. It's connected via Bluetooth, or it's on I've got my sound bar connected, you know what I mean? Subwoofer, tweeters, you know what I'm saying? That whole stereo sound effect, right? So I'm never just listening to music just on my phone directly. I mean, but you can do it here on the G8 for a fact. So me personally, I'm not able to tell a difference between how this boombox speaker sounds on the G8 versus how it sounds on the V40 versus how it sounds on the G7, which the G7 was when that technology was introduced. Okay. So now there's some other features that this phone has. It has like hand ID. Like this is LG. They don't want you to touch this phone, right? Because you now, with that time of flight 3D sensor on the front, they have what's called hand ID, and it's like the phone you can hold your palm in front of the phone, and it can read your palm, and it can unlock your device. Or you can just make little subtle gestures. Like, say if you're listening to music, you can take your hand and you can, like you're turning a knob, you can turn it to the right to increase the volume. You can turn it to the left to decrease the volume. To me, it's very gimmicky. It's very spotty. Like, it's damn near unusable. Like, I've been trying to play with this thing to get it to work so I can demonstrate it to you guys, and I cannot get it to work. And it seems like a lot of other people that has reviewed this phone, if they were able to get it to work, it wasn't as it doesn't perform, I'm sure, as LG would like for it to perform, which is why I say it's very gimmicky. I mean, it's cool that they've got the feature to do that, but at the same time, it's like, what's the use of having that if it's not really all that usable? And it's like one of those things where it's like you're going to get frustrated with trying to figure out how to do it, and it's just going to be an afterthought. It's just like, yo, why did they even put this on the phone if it's so complicated to utilize? You know what I mean? And so I see why a lot of other reviewers were just kind of like, man, this, it's cool that they implemented that, and it's a cool demonstration for those that were able to get it to work. But me, I didn't have any luck with that. You know what I mean? So sadly, that's not something that I can display here on the full Pristine review. But yeah, how it works is just like you just put your hand in front of it, and you got to hold your hand at like a certain, let's see. All right, let's lock it. Because the way it works, I mean, you're supposed to be able to just put your hand in front of the sensor. And then, well, let's see. I'll double tap. And so, just like it would read my face, it's supposed to read my palm. And it should unlock and open. I've had no luck, ladies and gentlemen, at all whatsoever. I mean, the tutorial, it's pretty detailed, you know what I'm saying, as far as how to do it. But it's like the phone just doesn't respond, to my hand in any way, shape, or form. And it's like I'm doing everything that the tutorial is suggesting that I do in order to get it to work. So, it's cool. It's cool. It's in cool implementation. It's definitely something new. Like, I can see the direction in which LG is going for. They want to switch it up a little bit and just give us something to play with that we've never played with on a phone before. I mean, it's on the G8, so it's like I don't see why that same feature or function wouldn't be on the V50 when it comes out. I'm hoping that if it is on the V50, that it's a bit more or a lot more polished, so that it's usable. You know what I mean? Like I just said, I like having choices. You know what I mean? So I may not want to just scan my face or use the fingerprint sensor. I may just want to be on some futuristic and just unlock my phone. Listening to some music, swipe to the right to change the track, or swipe to the left to listen to the previous track. You know what I mean? Or just, you know, turn my hand like I'm turning the volume knob to turn up the volume or turn it down. I mean, this phone has that ability, but it's not usable. It doesn't work. You know, so I think that was, you know, I don't want to say a failed opportunity, but, you know, I think that's something that definitely needs work. Now, once it starts working consistently, I don't know if maybe LG can put out some updates or something to get that popping. You know, that'd be sweet, because I really do want to, you know, I want to play with that. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I mean, the phone is a good device. I can recommend it. It's lightweight. You know what I mean? I can't remember the amount of grams that it is as far as how much it weighs, but I mean, it's a beautiful phone, and you're gonna get excellent performance, excellent photos and videos. Be sure to check out that camera review. Link is in the description for that down below in the description box. It's a great phone overall. Okay, so the things that I said about it that were concerns or little slight dislikes, those to me aren't determining factors, in my personal opinion. I'm just, you know, being a reviewer, I have to stick to things that I don't like about it, and, you know, you guys can be the judge as to whether or not this is something you want to invest in, or go check out at least to see if it's something that you want to invest in. But this was just my experience with the device. But overall, on the whole, this phone is a beast, and I can recommend it. And like I said, one of the other advantages to this phone is if you want those top-end 2019 specifications, this is probably the cheapest that you're going to pay for it right now. Okay, I understand what in about a week or two, you know, the OnePlus 7 and the OnePlus 7 Pro is supposed to be unveiled, but it sounds like they're going to be pushing the Pro more so, and it sounds like the Pro is going to be like $700. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking to see, okay, is there going to be some real significant differences between the OnePlus 7 versus the OnePlus 7 Pro? You know what I'm saying? Does the OnePlus 7 Pro, is the hike in price over the OnePlus 7 going to be justified? Things that make me go, we'll have to wait and see. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to wait and see. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen, for the full Pristine review for the LG G8 ThinQ. You already know, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of videos that I've done like this one. And definitely keep it locked at Pristine Mobile Tech, because I've got so much more content to come. Be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a beat. Every time my videos go live, you'll get notified that, hey, Mr. Pristine or Pristine Tech just uploaded something. Check it out, man, and get down in the comment section, which is where I'll be hanging out at, answering questions, responding to comments, responding to feedback or criticism, you know, whatever you got for me. And yeah, man, I'm gonna keep this thing rolling. Keep getting my hands on the latest tech, featuring it here on the channel to, you know, teach you guys about it and help you guys make an informed decision on what your next smartphone purchase may be. That's what I do this for. All right, so you already know, man. Until the next one, thank you for stopping by and spending a little bit of time with me. And man, keep it safe, get spiritually fit, because we're definitely living in the last days. Revelations is upon us. You know what I mean? Ain't no reason to be scared. Just get spiritually fit. Okay? And if you got a problem with me using my platform to witness about the one who, the creator who makes all this possible for me to do, then my channel ain't the place for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I get my witness on at the end of every one of my videos. Alright? It's important. Get spiritually fit and keep it pristine in every aspect of your lives. This is the LG G8 ThinQ. I'm your man Pristine, bringing the content, the host. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace.